For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
Hi everyone. So the verse that we just heard was John 3:16 from what's called the Word of Promise audio Bible. So you can actually find that on Audible. If you have Audible app, you can get that. It's called the Word of Promise audio Bible, and it's really actually pretty awesome. It reads the Bible to you out loud with like dramatic theatrical theater background. So I know that it might be kind of cheesy that I'm having the verses spoken from this Word of Promise audio Bible before I come on and quickly talk about the verse that was just read. But if you stick with me, I don't know, it was just an idea that I had because I thought that it would be a good way of getting the verse out so you can actually hear the verse. And maybe it'll encourage you to find that Bible on that Audible app. Okay, we just heard John 3:16, and what I want to share about salvation regarding this verse, regarding salvation period, just really getting right down to where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, in regards to salvation. God did it all. Keep that in mind as we quickly explore why it is only by belief that you are saved. And we'll quickly go over why you need saved as well. And yes, I wrote all of this down so that I can stick with it and not go wandering all over the place, because my thoughts are so much better spoken when I actually write it. So yeah, anyways, God created the world and everything in it. He created human beings, and when he created the first human beings, man and woman, he created them with free will because he doesn't want robots worshiping him. He wants people to freely love and worship him. Kind of like a spouse. If you have a spouse, you want them to freely love you and not forcefully, right? Because where's the love in that? So free will needed to be presented with a choice. So God gave them a choice. They chose to disobey God, which broke the relationship between human beings and God and brought sin and evil into the world. Well, God still loves his creation so much, human beings so much, and he desires a relationship with you so much that he had the plan of reconciliation already planned before he created human beings and before he created the world. Let me say that again. God desires a relationship with you so much that when he knew that humanity would disobey, before he created the world, before he created human beings, he already had the plan of reconciliation planned. So God made known to humanity his standard of perfectness that we would have to meet in order to not be sentenced to death and hell punishment. So let me say that again. God made known to humanity his standard of perfectness that we would have to meet in order to not be sentenced to death and hell punishment. That is the 10 Commandments he wrote with his own finger and gave to us, humanity. Have you ever taken God's name in vain? You know, used him and his son's name as a curse word? Have you ever lied? Have you ever stolen anything? God says in his word that if you have broken just one of these, then you're guilty like in a court of law and cannot spend eternity in his kingdom of heaven. You have to pay for your crime because he is a just God. He has to be. He cannot allow sin to go unpunished. You're guilty, and so am I. So God's plan of reconciliation, that goes perfectly with his justice, fairness, and holy nature. And most of all, that goes perfectly with his ongoing deep love he has for his creation, his human creation. At just the right time in human history, God had himself become human in the flesh of Jesus Christ. He lived a life without breaking one of his perfect commandments. He didn't lie for you. He didn't take his own name in vain for you. He didn't steal for you. In every other sin that has been done by you personally, he didn't do for you. In short, he lived a perfect and sinless life while he was here in human flesh 2022 years ago. And then he poured his own wrath on himself while he was beaten and suffering on a tree. That was his hand. That was his hand paying your fine. That was his hand reaching out to you, paying your fine. So you can be free from his punishment when you meet him face to face after you die. That is why belief is the only requirement for eternal life with God, because he did it for you. A sinless life was lived for you by God himself. I'll say it again. Jesus Christ, God our Creator, lived the sinless life for you and then took on his own wrath so you don't have to. God's way of still having his just nature while at the same time still getting to have his relationship with mankind again. And God still able to have his just nature, his justice, and being able to have a relationship with you again. It's absolutely brilliant. God so loved the world that he gave his one and only begotten Son, that whosoever should believe in him will not perish, but have everlasting life.